We won't deny that most school teachers are kind, warm, and decent people. But there are a few bad apples among every group, as recounted by these former students. Number 1. I had the creepiest history sub in junior high. He was a middle-aged bald guy who wore a bright red vest over a striped short-sleeved shirt every day he subbed for my class. And every single day he took our class, he would first offer everyone some moldy peanuts from the same old ziplock, although no one ever dared to take one. His nails were long, and he never spoke more than a few words. He would slip in the movie our history teacher had left him, and just sit at the table and watch us, peering into our souls. Whenever anyone tried asking a question, he would either nod or shake his head or simply not answer. But somehow, always, I had a fleeting suspicion that he would be staring at me in particular, or would just linger around a bit longer when offering me the peanuts. Unfortunately, my suspicions were confirmed just a few weeks after. First, he started showing up at the restaurant where I work part-time, and I was told by my coworkers that he would wait all day for me to come in. He would then wait outside till I was done, and then follow me while walking home. Once he followed me to the grocery store near my house. He wasn't even trying to hide the fact that he was stalking me. I started walking along different routes so that he wouldn't know where I lived. One day, he walked up to my little sister at school and started talking to her. I flipped out, went to the principal's office and told him everything. Thankfully, he believed me and turned the teacher in to the authorities. But while the police were taking him away in handcuffs, he looked me in the eye, showed his caramel-colored teeth in a grin, and said, "I'll never leave you alone, Peanut. You'll always be mine." I don't know what happened to him, but even 10 years later, I keep his name, description, and license plate number so that the police know whom to look for if I ever go missing. Number 2. When I was 8 years old, we had a new art teacher. She was amazing, sweet, and would always be open to answering any concerns or doubts we would have. She was approachable and kind. She was always well-dressed and would even allow us to eat in between our classes. She was the best teacher we had had in a while, and we all loved her. But do good things really last? Just about a month later, her behavior started to change slowly. She started wearing darker colors. Her hair was unkempt, and she would snap at us all of a sudden. We just thought she was going through something. As time progressed, she was no longer the teacher we once loved. She was no longer a sweetheart who encouraged us to do everything we dreamt of. She was extremely erratic and would scream and yell at us for the smallest of mistakes. One day, for an in-class assignment, she told us to copy whatever she drew. And to the horror of our young minds, she started drawing dead people hanging from a noose. Then she put her hands around the necks of some of us as we started crying, looked into her eyes, and said we were all gonna die. Though she eventually stopped, we started to get really scared. So one girl, Sarah, took the initiative and said she wanted to use the toilet. Figuring out that she was gonna sneak out and talk to the principal, the teacher flew into a rage and slammed her face into the desk, leaving all of us frozen in shock. Sarah had passed out from the encounter, and a lot of us had started to scream by then. Our teacher yelled back at us to shut up and that we shouldn't have interfered in her business. In a moment of calmness that had apparently washed over her, she told us that she would take Sarah to the infirmary and proceeded to carry her limp body over her shoulder. She then threw her out of the window. Our classroom was on the 4th floor. All chaos broke loose in the classroom, and finally the teachers from the other classes ran in to see what the commotion was. They immediately ran down and found Sarah, who had hit her head on the pavement and died. The school security proceeded to drag our teacher out of the classroom as she was dragging and kicking. Turned out, she had later stopped taking her meds and was later confined to an insane asylum.